Hi, my name is Katie Kuneth, and I'm a senior at East Hampton High School, and I'm here today with the LTV Community Internship Program. And I'm interviewing Dr. Gretta Leone, the Republican candidate running for East Hampton Town Supervisor. Dr. Leone was born in Heredia, Costa Rica, but moved here at a very young age as she attended elementary through high school here in East Hampton. She was a first-generation college graduate from the Latin American University of Science and Technology. There, she gained not only a bachelor's degree in secondary education, foreign language, and translation, but also a master's degree in dental sciences. Thank you so much for meeting me here today, Dr. Leone. Is there anything else you'd like to add about yourself and your past career before we go on?
So thank you, Katie, for having me here today, and thank you, LTV, for hosting me today. I appreciate it, I really do. Sure, I'll add to that background. So I have a doctor in dental sciences, as you said, from ULESIT. I also did a master's in project management, and that was from ULESIT as well. On top of that, to complement my studies from Costa Rica, I went to the University of Pennsylvania and I coursed a master's program there in organizational dynamics. So that's what I can add to it. And it's been a long career run, a vast amount of degrees, and I grew up in the area. I went to the Ross School for high school. I did do the public system for up until middle school, and then I went to the high school for Ross School. So
Nice.
yeah.
All right. To begin, I'd just like you to explain to me and to everyone else what exactly the roles are as town supervisor, and given this is such an onerous task, what makes you qualified to take on this role?
Okay. So I'll put it in my words what a town supervisor is. You're leading a town, so you're the manager, basically the manager of a town. You have to learn how to, or you have to do how to communicate with people. So you always have to communicate with people. You have to implement different projects. So you're building scope work. You're creating different plans and outlooks. So you're doing it for the long term. So you're creating goals. You're setting forth expectations, and from those you're kind of going into different projects, but you're also executing them. So in the long run, it's the tasks, and you're chief officer of the town, so you're the administrative head of the town. So you're leading the town and you're leading the community. And it's interesting because hierarchies, we're so focused on the leader is on the top, but I see it inverted, like the community's on the top and the leader's on the bottom, especially when you're a supervisor, because you have to take into consideration what the community needs in order to partake as a supervisor. So in order to accomplish your goals, you have to first look at what the community needs and then work from there. The reason why I believe I'm qualified is that I have a vast educational background. It makes me see things in a different lens or point of view. I've been through so many experiences just with my background, with life experiences, and I believe that I have different viewpoints as well as the master's in organizational dynamics that has to do a lot with management and leadership skills, as well as I would say that there's a lot of communication between stakeholders, and then there's another communication part within the people that you work with every day.
Right.
So it's a lot of back and forth and understanding people's needs and how I can achieve better goals by understanding what they need or what needs to be accomplished at that moment. That said, that's what I believe makes me qualified for the task. I also think that I bridge the gap between the age groups. Right in the middle. I like to put it that way. So it's nice to have that ability to be able to talk to a younger generation and the older generation. I have my parents, they're on the older side. I have my brother who's a bit younger. So I'm always juggling that. And I think that you need to be able to communicate to different age groups and see what everyone needs in the community.
Definitely, I agree. What originally made you interested in politics?
So my interest comes from wanting to make this town better, not only for the generations now, but for the future generations. And by better, I mean more affordable. You know, we're lacking affordability in this town. I was in Costa Rica for so long, and I noticed that we are so fortunate to have what we have. There are communities that don't have, potable water. So that's an issue that we have to maintain here and look into so that future generations have that. So we have to develop a system that really takes care of our water quality issues. So I have to say that I am completely into advocating for others, members of the community. And that's what really got me into this, is the fact that I've been here so long. It's very hard to stay out here. It's very difficult. It's just the affordability is not, our salaries aren't there for what the cost of living is out here. So that makes me concerned of what will happen in the next couple years, 10 years down the line. Who will actually be living here? How will we sustain people to stay here and not have so much turnover? Because that turnover is actually a problem. In a certain way, it can be a problem because it doesn't give an economical balance to everything and to the town. We need to achieve that stability and create more year-round jobs, better, higher paying jobs, and also, I would say white collar jobs, because when you go to college, you come back and the job, I guess the amount of jobs that are focused on white collar jobs are very limited, and they're not very existential, and we have to figure out the transportation system too. So it all goes hand in hand, housing crisis, and that has to do with the domino effect of the affordability issues and everything around us. So we really have to look into those things. So advocating for others, that's my motivation too.
Great.
Yeah.
Have you worked with East Hampton town politics in the past? And if not, what other boards have you served on, or are there any other boards that you've served on that can help you with this?
So I have not actually worked with any East Hampton politics. This is my first political run.
Right.
I am a member in Costa Rica, and I still am a member of it. So I'm a member of the Board of Ethics, so Board of the Dental Ethics in Costa Rica. We meet via Zoom. It's very nice. I get to be part of their group, and we look into different projects that need to be taken into place. We also look at different problems that may arise, and then we give feedback to the community. So that's something that I'm still part of, and I'm proud of it. I worked very hard for it, and it's something that I like doing, is just being with others and learning from them. So.
All right. So as recently as October 15th, East Hampton Town tentatively announced that the budget for the upcoming year is going to be approximately $95 million. How do you plan on managing that budget, and have you ever managed a budget in the past that might aid you in that process?
So I think everything's a learning curve. If you want to do something, you'll go do it and you'll find out how to do it.
Yeah.
You learn, you grow. That said, I do have my project management degree. That helps with scope work and budgeting. But also, I would say that you're not working alone. And that's the main problem that we have right now, is that people see that it's just the supervisor position, but it all works hand in hand. So when we actually work together, we have to collaborate with one another. So that means working with town board, the controller, and also looking into working with the town head departments. These people that are at town head departments, they've been there for so long, they're so experienced, decades, and they provide services to everyone in town. So we have to rely on each other, and that's so we can create a budget that's favorable for everyone, and then when we implement that budget, then we can execute it so that it can be ran within the town, but it's not just me, it's working with everyone else. At some point in life, you always need someone there. So that's how I see it. And I would also be implementing a zero-based budget. So that's something that I would be implementing, not like the current town board that they don't have that right now.
Okay, would you just explain real quick what a zero-based budget is?
Yeah, so zero-based budget is that basically you start from scratch, you start from
Okay.
zero. You're not taking into consideration last year's budget and building on top of that, you're actually creating a new budget. So when you do that, you can find out what needs attention, where the funds are going, what projects needs to be funded, what does the community need, and you allocate those funds, or the town head department allocates those funds to specific projects that they need, working from zero. So when we do that, it makes us know how we're spending, where the funds going at, what projects are being funded, and how much income is going in and out. So we have more of a control, but it starts from zero again. So every year it starts from zero, it does not build up from the past year.
All right, great. Can you think of anything that you feel already works great in our community, our town? The anniversary was 75th, 175th recently, this past month. Is there anything that you feel already works well, or some things that might be adjusted?
So I think that we're such a tight-knit community. You know, we have multi-generational families out here, we have new families, we have diverse cultures in our community. I think that works really well. I believe that that has to keep going on for future generations to enjoy, like the Bonic way of living, you know? And just the families that have been here for a while and carry those traditions out. And I don't want that to be lost. And what was the second, sorry, what was the second part
Was
of the
there
question?
anything that you think could be improved?
Yeah, so I believe that what I mentioned before, like the housing crisis, we need to really focus on the housing crisis right now. We need to make affordability our main concern as well, water quality issues, fix our antiquated septic system that we have. There are a lot of issues within the town, zoning, people are just cutting down trees, like they don't mean anything, but they provide our oxygen and everything, you know, they're our filter. So it's just a lot of things that have to be addressed that have not been addressed prior to, and that's I believe that is the lack of the administration and the current administration, is that when you execute something or when you start a project, you have to finish it, you have to continue it, because if not, then what's the point of like starting it, ending it midway, and then having to restart the project? Like, for example, the senior center, you know, that's something was started 2014, they were already discussing it, and now they're discussing another building, you know, it should have been done by now. Things like that I'm like, you know, if there's no continuum and no finish, you're just gonna go back to the same point as you were before. And that's a loss of, you know, taxpayer money, that's a loss of time, that's a loss of a lot of things that you could have done and, you know, to complete a project, but it's not being in an efficient way. They're not being efficient, they're just going back to the same point. So it's losing time, it's losing money. I think we have to stop all these litigations that are going on with the taxpayers' money. I don't think it's necessary. You know, we could put that money in something else, development, infrastructure, you know, creating better things for the community. And I really believe that we have to focus on what our next generations will need. Not just look at it as a one year at a time, but what do we need, or what will they need in 5, 10, 15, 20 years down the line? So that's something that we have to look at, is how to be able to project our future in this community, and something that has not been taken into consideration.
I know you're relatively new to the political process, as you mentioned before, but have you encountered any biases or weaknesses that you've had to overcome, and how have you overcome them?
So I would say I have encountered biases, you know, a lot of political biases, I would say, from people just like who maybe instead of focusing on town politics, they focus more on national politics. We're in a town, you know, it shouldn't be happening. I believe that if the problems aren't for town aren't going to be solved with national politics. we're in East Hampton town, and that should be our main focus. Our main concern should be, how do we solve issues? What's the best way to do them? What's the best outcome? And where is this going to take us down the line? So that's the vision we should have. We really shouldn't spend our time on other things that it's not worth it. It's not worth the time. We need the energy here. So we need the energy in town.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my personal project through the LTV internship is finding a way to support local retail businesses in the town and in the village, considering all of the luxury chain retail stores that are invading our town and our space. I don't know if you had noticed it or are aware of it, but do you know or have of any ideas to help support these businesses through the rough time?
So, I'm a firm believer mom and pop shops. I love
Yeah.
them. And it's sad to see them go, because I basically wouldn't shop at Louis Vuitton in town or things like that. I prefer mom and pop shop. So, that said, I think we have to have more localities where businesses and affordable localities. It's not just, create more structure,
Right.
but it's affordable structures so that these businesses can work there and they can expand. But that also goes hand in hand with transportation. It all works together. Affordability, transportation, and jobs, they all work together. Everything's basically integrated. And in life, a lot of things are integrated. So it's not just solving one issue, it's solving various issues at a time. How can I do this so that, when workers come in, they might take the public transportation? So how do I create more train schedules? Who do I have to contact for that? How do I actually get so that the roads are not as packed? You're not
Right.
sitting in 2 or 3 hour traffic trying to get out here.
Yeah.
There are a lot of things that you have to take into consideration. Public bus schedules. Are they working for the people? Are they not working? What can we do better? Do we need a rail system that actually takes and goes all the way up island and until where? Where does it stop? Where does it end? Where are their connections? It's all looking into what and where those things go, so we can find solutions. So I would say that we have to look into better infrastructure, and also look into affordability and creating affordable workspaces so that these businesses can thrive.
Yeah.
And it's a plus for everyone. It's not going to harm anyone. You're going to create more jobs and you're going to have more businesses. And it's sad to see local mom and pop shops just leave. I love Sag Harbor Town because they have a little bit more of mom and pop shops, a little bit,
Yeah.
but it's still it's still very hard to keep out here because it's almost as they're being displaced or they're it's not affordable for them. And
Right.
once they do their budgets, they're no, I can't maintain this. I can't maintain staying here. So that's something to consider and something to look at, and really working with them and talking to them of what their needs are. What reach do they have? How much can they afford? What budget do they have?
Right.
Because if we just continue the way we are and we don't look around us and we don't actually take into consideration the community and what they need, well, then why? It's you're not leading anyone. You're not working with the community. You're not doing your job.
Right.
So, yes, thank you.
All right. And I just wanted to give the floor to you again to answer the simple question of why should people vote for you?
Well, I believe people should vote for me because I am tabula rasa. So tabula rasa means a blank state. I don't have any connection with politics whatsoever. I have an innovative approach. I'm a very approachable person, and I really like to work with community members, and I really like to advocate for people. I believe that I have all this knowledge to provide to people, and I welcome people to approach me and speak with me about their needs. So I believe that that's why people should vote for me. I really care for my community. I love my town, and I have not left because of that. And when I was in Costa Rica, I was back and forth because my parents live here, and I was not by the beach. I was in Idalia, which is part of probably about an hour from San Jose. So I was always missing the beach. So we were lucky and fortunate to have the beach around us growing up. But, you know, it's something that I care for is the community, and that I see betterment, I see change for the younger generations, for the future generations, and so that local people aren't displaced and we're able to stay here, not because, you know, we want to stay here, but not because they're pushing us out, you know, we want to stay here. So it should be a choice that we have.
Definitely. All right. Well, thank you so much for meeting with me today. I would like to note that the intern interviewing Dr. Leon's political opponent has also asked similar questions, so these interviews will be able to be comparable. For everyone watching, make sure you go out and vote for your East Hampton Town Council. Early voting will start tomorrow, October 28th, and will go all the way up until November 5th at the Windmill Village over at Accabonac. And of course, you can always go out and vote on Election Day, which will be November 7th, at your local voting place. Thank you again, Dr. Leon, for speaking with me today.
Thank you so much for having me. This is a great program that they have at LTV, and I appreciate everything. So I appreciate you for taking your time to interview me and for all the questions and for really engaging the community. So thank you so much, and I appreciate LTV for the time too.
Of course, yeah.
Thank you.
Again, my name's Katie Kuneth, and I was here with the LTV Community Internship Program, and I encourage you to go out and vote.